Welcome back to Insight. America's First Lady has no official duties and there's no job description. But from championing the rights of women and promoting healthy living to her use of social media and a star turn in carpool karaoke, Michelle Obama has made the role her own. As she prepares to leave the White House in January, Insight's Ty Genwright looks back at the legacy of the First Lady of the United States.
When someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
Few campaigners have taken so much of the spotlight in this US presidential race as the outgoing First Lady. What Michelle Obama has in common with her husband is the ability to turn a speech into a seminal moment.
And because of Hillary Clinton, my daughters and all our sons and daughters now take for granted that a woman can be president of the United States.
She clearly has an aptitude for politics, but she says no ambition. Michelle is looking forward to leading a private life once again, even if plenty in the party would love to see another President Obama.
Since you can't run again for another term, is there any way that we as a group can talk the First Lady into running?
No. Let me tell you, there are three things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and Michelle is not running for president.
Here's an individual who's actually said many times doesn't want a political career at all. However, if you look at this campaign, she has done phenomenally well as a politician, has been a phenomenal surrogate for Hillary Clinton. So she certainly has the potential to do it, even if maybe she doesn't want to do it exactly at this time.
Throughout her 8 years in the White House, Michelle Obama has championed several worthy causes, just like the spouse of the president is supposed to. She's a fit woman, so health and well-being have been to the fore, and she's been a role model on the topic of education for girls. It was this message that she brought all over the world. Visiting Britain in 2009, the students at the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson School in London loved her.
I am an example of what's possible when girls, from the very beginning of their lives, are loved and nurtured.
The girls listened. Exam results at the school, which caters for less advantaged students, surged in the years following her visit.
Anyone could have come here and given a generic speech about working hard. But Michelle Obama was able to tell the girls at this school that she was just like them. She grew up in a poor neighborhood in Chicago and ended up attending some of the world's most prestigious law schools. A real success in her own right before her husband became president of the United States.
Mary was one of those girls. She's now a young woman.
I was able to ask her a question and I was extremely nervous, and I actually remember stumbling with my words a little bit.
Now she's studying at university, honing her skills to become a journalist.
So how did she motivate you?
I remember Michelle Obama telling me just to never give up and work hard. So during that time I worked hard, I was able to complete my GCSEs. I went to college and now I'm in university, so.
There is a warmth and a likability to Michelle Obama that many in public life lack. From royalty to those leading more ordinary lives, she seems to be able to strike a rapport and talk to anyone. Perhaps because she climbed from hardship to become part of the most powerful administration in the world. Perhaps because she represents the kind of person we all want in a leader.
Do you think she'd have had the very same impact if she'd done and said the very same things, but she weren't a black woman?
No, because it cannot be underestimated how important it is to have black people in leadership. We just are not used to, in the global north, seeing black people in leadership. The stereotype in America and in many ways across Europe and in England is of the black woman as angry, as aggressive, as subservient maybe. If you look at messaging in Hollywood from the beginning of films, what roles have black women played? So to have one who is, you know, the wife of the president is just as important as having a black president.
So would you like to see another President Obama, a President Michelle Obama?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't, because I think that politics is about compromise, especially American politics where it is now. So I think she's far more powerful on the outside of politics, and I hope she keeps to her word and continues to fight the fight from outside the White House.
Michelle Obama, please be president. I think you're really needed.
Michelle Obama has said she will continue to campaign to empower and educate girls. But there is clearly a political path open to her if she chooses to follow it. Ty Genwright, reporting for Insight.
Well, let's continue that conversation with Rennie Ed Lodge, who's an author and journalist who writes on race and gender issues. I don't suppose you presume to give Michelle Obama advice, but if you were to, would you suggest that she should stand as a politician in her own right?
Maybe she could do a Hillary, you know, be in the background. But I almost agree with the interviewee who was on the VT. She is incredibly powerful and influential outside. Well, she is on the inside, but outside of that coveted position. And I do worry that much like, you know, if Hillary, you know, is elected president next week, if Michelle Obama is elected the first black woman president of the United States, then every mistake that she ever makes will reflect on all other black women, just like every mistake that Hillary might make, it reflects on all women, because when there's so few of you in that corridor, then you're held to an impossible standard, kind of like what we've seen with Obama over the last 8 years. And so it really is a double-edged sword, I think, minorities in power, even though it's absolutely needed. Minorities tend to be held to an impossible standard.
So are you almost advocating minorities shouldn't be in power then?
No.
Because their reputation will be tarnished or their competence will be questioned?
No, not at all. But I'm just saying that it's a double-edged sword. We absolutely need minorities in these hugely powerful positions, but they are unfortunately held to an impossible standard by sometimes their supporters and accused of being tokens by people who aren't their supporters.
Has she been an effective role model, do you think, over the last 8 years of her husband's presidency?
Absolutely, completely undoubtedly. I think that she's taken the First Lady position and really run with it. And, you know, the campaigns that she's been doing over the last eight years have been really, they haven't been contentious, which is the first thing, but they've been things that everybody can rally around. And I don't think that after that 8 years of work, it's not a coincidence. So I think there was a poll released in the last few days that said that she's the most popular person on America's political stage over the 2 presidential candidates and her husband. Because, you know, we can all rally around what she's got to say. She's classy, she's elegant, she's a fantastic public speaker. So yeah.
And while being that role model as well, has no doubt had to be the lead parent too. Her husband's been kind of busy running the country and the world. So she's got 2 teen daughters to bring up as well. That's an onerous juggling of responsibilities, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But then, well, I mean, we don't know what goes on inside the White House. I'm sure they've got some help. But it's also quite interesting to sort of have watched their children grow over the last 8 years. And I'm sure, you know, as they've both sort of hit their teens, they're pretty much looking after themselves at this point. But she's done a fantastic job of not, she hasn't hid in the background. She hasn't said, oh, you know, oh, my primary goal is a wife and a mother, and yeah, I'm going to leave all the decision-making and
she
stuff.
did label herself as a mum, a working mum. She's a lawyer, and a very good one, by all accounts. But she has used that status as mother to 2 teenage children as a sort of positive thing to do, I suppose. Or,
yeah, definitely.
In the White House.
And this is absolutely not to do down the work that mums do, because it's undoubtedly work. You know, it's just work as much as what we're doing here today.
I'm sure you're right about them bit of support. She's probably got a few people hanging to help out.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I think that she's never ever said that women have to compromise between working and raising children, and she's always sort of put.
Do you
put
fear
best
there's a
foot forward.
momentum lost then? That come January, okay, thanks Obamas, you're gone. Whoever it is, they will be white, middle-class Americans back in the White House, male, female, whatever it might be. Does that end an era, or do you think there's something needs to be done to try and make sure that minority representation gets the highest possible profile?
To be honest with you, I would not be surprised, and this is me playing Mystic Meg here, I wouldn't be surprised if the Obamas, once out of the spotlight, dedicated their efforts into something very similar. I mean, the Obama administration has been very proactive around, you know, minority political participation. I don't think that once a couple leave office that's just going to fall off the cliff. I think that's been something that's been sort of unilaterally a priority of the Obama administration of the last few years.
Okay, Rennie, thank you. Rennie Ed Lodge, thanks for being
having
with
me.
us today. We end now with our Insight Bite, a little something that we feel you should know. And today it's a survival story from Italy. Following the recent earthquake, search and rescue workers have released a video showing firefighters pulling a dog alive from the rubble. It comes more than 24 hours after the devastating quake struck. Guided by their own sniffer dog, the animal emerged covered in dust, but otherwise looking pretty much unharmed. No deaths or critical injuries have been reported after the quake, which was the country's strongest since 1980. And that's all for now. I'm Martin Stanford. That was Insight.